This is the Horse Radio Network.
Managing a career, your family, friends, and horses, all of that at the same time is a serious balancing act. Two of our guests tonight do all of it and launch their own businesses. This week, we're sipping on some tequila, and we will be discussing, you guessed it, underwear again. Thanks for tuning in. From Heels Down Mag, a podcast where horse pros chat about what's happening in the horse world over drinks. Welcome to Happy Hour. I'm Justine Griffin.
I'm Jessica Payne.
And I'm Ellie Woznicka. Welcome to episode 87 of Heels Down Happy Hour.
Hey, guys.
How's it going?
Hello.
Not bad.
You feel like you're settling into the farm finally, Jess? Or are you still have a long list of projects?
Right. I don't think we'll ever have like it all done, but we're finally feeling like, oh, we're actually in.
Nice. Like it feels like home now when you come back, like it's home now.
Yeah. It's like, okay, look, this is it. I mean, we'll always have things to do and everything, but it's like, oh, we're here. It feels good. Like it's just nice to be here. And like we have lots of projects. Every day is a different project, but it's really coming along. It's pretty awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah. This episode is brought to you by EcoGold. Be ready to show with the new white on white flip matte half pad. It's perfectly paired with one of their fresh white show pads, whether it be the one that we use that's secure or anything from the Hunters. Like this half pad is vegan, ethically produced, and provides superior impact protection for your horse's back. You can check them out at ecogold.ca. So, Justine, I heard you have like a fun drink for summertime.
I do. I have one. I feel like this is up your alley, Ellie. Maybe not yours, Jess, but it's called a tequila limeade, and it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. So it's white tequila. You're going to get some limeade. You're going to add a couple of mint leaves and some seltzer and some lime slices. And basically, you add it all together. You crush some ice into a cocktail shaker, shake it well, break up the mint leaves, strain it into a glass of your choice, and then you can garnish it with your lime slices and top it with seltzer.
I feel like this is like I would say like a poor man's tequila or a poor man's margarita.
Margarita.
So you're doing the limeade instead of just like lime juice and sugar water. And then you're throwing in the seltzer and the mint leaves, right?
I guess it's just less sugar, right? Because then you just have the seltzer. It feels like a little bit of a lighter drink. But maybe not with the limeade. Yeah, I don't know.
I like sugar too much. So I'm kind of like you're missing out on the best part.
This is it. Yeah, exactly.
Just throw in a handful of sugar to top it off.
That's
Sounds
funny.
pretty good.
Goodness.
All right.
I have a heartwarming story for us this week, guys.
Okay.
It's kind of a cool story. So there's this girl is going to Hickstead on a horse. It's 25-year-old gelding, and it's actually the son of the mare that her mom rode at Hickstead 27 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of a cool little, the girl's 12. And so her mom actually has Lou Gehrig's disease, or MND. So she can't actually go to Hickstead with her daughter, but they're going to FaceTime. And it's just kind of a cool experience to see, one, that this horse that was homebred literally in what is now their kitchen was actually the horse's stall where the horse was born. And now, she's going to Hickstead on her mom's horse's kid. It's kind of a tongue twister, but I thought it was a cool story.
That is an awesome story.
That's freaking awesome.
I know.
And the horse is 25 and going to Hickstead. So yay for, keeping up the horses. They keep saying that every year they're like, oh, this is going to be his last competitive year. And he just keeps on going.
That's so cool.
Awesome.
Jess, what do you got?
I was going to say, I have some interesting news. So basically, Badminton and Burley have now canceled and they're not running a 5-star, but rumors are circulating that basically Britain needs a 5-star. It's the heart of eventing and everything else. And now the U.S. has 2 5-stars. They have Kentucky, and then Maryland's going to run in the fall. So basically, everybody in Great Britain is saying, look, we're going to try to rally together and maybe we're going to need the public's support on it. But they're saying it's pretty obvious that with the cancellations, they're going to try to maybe move venues or try to do this. It's really up in the air, but it'll be really interesting to see. The U.S. did such a great job. A lot of the American riders, Sarah Kossenblick and Dorothy Crowell and a bunch of other people pulled a lot out to get Kentucky to help Kentucky run. And so it'll be interesting because I think they're trying to do that same thing to have some sort of 5-star in Great Britain this year.
I know it's kind of amazing to think, like there's just none, right? Especially in what is, kind of a weird, but still an Olympic year. I hope to see that they kind of come up with a replacement plan. I mean, do you feel like it's feasible, Jess?
I mean, I was impressed on what Sarah and Dorothy and all them could pull off for Kentucky. So I think that anything's possible after watching them.
Yeah.
So, but I think, obviously they're working with the FEI and everything else. It's just going to be if there is a venue to be able to step up to the plate after the cancellation. And I'm not sure if there's that. I mean, I really don't know. I don't, compete over there enough to really know what would be able to step up. Because over here, Tryon usually steps up when Jockey Club, wasn't able to do it and stuff like that. So there were other venues that were already in place that had it. So there might be, who knows? Blenheim might be able to put together the 5-star. Who knows? So it'll be interesting to see if they're able to pull off a 5-star. Because I think the more we have, I mean, honestly, what everybody's concerned about is all these horses, they only have a limited time in their prime. And it's really hard to keep them fit and keep them going with no runs. And so I think that's why we saw a lot of foreign riders at Rolex or Land Rover, Kentucky. So it'll be very interesting to see if, they can pull it off or if they're going to come over from Maryland or not.
Mm-hmm. Good point. All right. Well, I've got an interesting one for you guys. It's a science story, my favorite type. You might have seen this. It published in The Horse recently, but it's a new study came out that says if we stretch our horses' tails more, it can help reduce back pain in the horses by more than 80%. And 80% is a pretty, jaw-dropping.
That's a big number.
Yeah, right? Like, whoa. So basically, scientists confirm this technique of basically pulling a horse's tail to relieve back pain is a way to just help horses feel less pain in what they consider, quote unquote, critical sites along the sides of the spine. And so there is a method to pulling the tail. They use a device they call a tail pull, but you know what it reminds me of? It looks like have you ever bought those things for your luggage tag that
a luggage weight?
Yeah, where you lift it, you hook you have the hook and you hang it and it tells you how heavy your bag is. That's exactly what it looks like to me. And you attach it, like you braid it into the horse's tail and you pull away and slightly at a downward angle to really give the horse some relief. And this is just fascinating to me that it works. So it basically what scientists have found is that this pulling method that kind of stretches along the sides of the spine helps give the horses a nice stretch in like those deep core back muscles. And when you think about it, obviously I'm not a scientist or a vet, but when you think about a horse's back, how long it is, like think about how long those muscles must run to support their top line and through their back. So I bet you that stretch must feel pretty good to them.
Yeah, and it's interesting because our chiropractor does that a lot and like pulls on their tail and stuff. So I mean, I guess he's doing that correctly. Yeah,
I have to do this every time I ride. Every time I ride, I do this, and my horses have gotten so used to it that they like pull against me and like put their noses down. So I'm like, we're probably a sight to see, and he like just like looks like I'm probably water
every
skiing.
time. That's interesting.
Every time, and honestly, because I've just kind of gotten into the habit, but it started with my reining horse because he's had so many issues with like SIs, and I just got his stifles done last year. So, and then my mom's horse is like 18 hands and he's, got this long back. He's a Percheron thoroughbred and he's got similar issues where he's just so long backed that if he's not out in a big enough pasture to really get a good buck in, like his back just gets to hurting. So we do this every time we ride. And it really does. I've noticed a difference in my horses, but it's cool I never knew how much it actually did help. So that's
80%.
really cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so researchers said doing the tail pulling that it basically like it will improve. There are certain areas that they saw the most improvement. So up to 83% improvement in the back over the rib cage, which the area that would really support a saddle. Then they saw a 52% improvement in horses in their pelvis area. And then they saw a 50% improvement in pain in the lumbar region. It's kind of interesting.
That's super impressive. I would be scared to do that.
I know. I feel like I would need my vet or my chiro or somebody to help
to show
teach
me. Yeah. I mean, like, I think Ellie's got it jam packed, but like for us, I'd be like, I'm a little scared. So,
so the way my chiropractor, and like my equine masseuse explained it to me is you basically apply as much pressure as they want to give against you. So like, I don't just like, sit there and kind of lean all the way back. Right. Cause I mean, God, that's a lot of weight. But I kind of just start, pulling like close to the base of the tail, and then my horses will kind of lean into it, and I just kind of apply the same amount of pressure.
You just support them, basically.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, allow them to stretch themselves, and I just.
Are you afraid they're going to kick you? I'm afraid.
I know. That's what I was going to say.
So there are definitely some colts that I've worked with that I would not have done this on, but no, my horses are pretty good, and you can do it. Relatively low on the tail. I mean, I stand, probably really bad position for
that's what
safety purposes.
To describe to me is like when you're low on the tail. I'm like, that means you're further away, man.
Yeah.
I'm just
so maybe not.
I'm in my car. I'm in my car, like everybody knows, and I'm staring at a bunch of these horses, going, "Nope, not that one. Not there in the paddocks." And I'm going, "Oh, definitely wouldn't do that one." Like going down the line, and I haven't found one yet. I did Quantum. Quantum probably wouldn't kick me. I found one horse and 11 paddocks.
So maybe know your horse before you do this.
I'm going to make Ellie come and like test them all out and then tell me.
You got to tape a video and post it in the Facebook group so we can see your method, like how you do it.
Yeah, I think that's
okay.
Good.
All right. I'll line up all my horses' butts and I'll do each horse.
Just go down the row. Yeah.
That'd be really helpful, actually.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do it. Do my pre-ride hind stretches.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not going to do my stretches because those are. Oh boy, I was just thinking about that the other day. I need a diet. My horses are coming out of their COVID bods, and my COVID bod is not going anywhere.
Girl, I'm there with you. We'll get to more of that in Rose and Thorn.
So shout out to everybody who's donated to us on Patreon. We really appreciate everybody who contributes, even if it's just once or every month. You guys really help us to continue this show. And if you want to help us, you can go to Patreon. That's patreon.com/heelsdown.
All right, guys. So this week we are reviewing a very important type of product that we all need when we're riding and not riding. And it also has been a very contested, hot discussion on the podcast over the years we're reviewing underwear. And you might have seen my booty adorning these underwear on our Instagram already. But Ellie got to try the Equi Panty just recently. And so, Ellie, I want to know more about what you thought about it and tell me, how you rode in it. What did you think? I actually just rode in my pair again over the weekend at a dressage show in 90-degree, heat and humidity, and they were a lifesaver. So I'm curious what you think.
Okay, well, we'll start with heat because it was hot here. I mean, hot for us, right? So it was like 68, 70. And hot for us. And for me, like I sweat a lot. So I was worried about getting, the swamp butt situation. And I'll tell you what, I rode 3 horses in it, jeans, riding pants, and I did not have any. So that was exciting. But in terms of like the overall feel and stuff, when I first put them on, I was like, these are really comfortable. Like I want to sleep in these kind of thing. Like I felt like they have a little bit of, for me, I got a little bit of a muffin top. So I liked kind of the how high they came up. Like I didn't feel like they were going to fall down.
Right.
That was huge for me because I like my britches and I like my undies to be high waisted.
I'm with you.
I want the support. And for me, like when I started actually riding in them, there was a moment where I first posted where I was like, am I wearing underwear? And then like, I think I probably went down the long side and I got used to it and it was really comfortable. Like I didn't even notice at all that I was wearing underwear. Like it felt super comfortable and I never had to worry about any wedgies, which as someone who does not wear butt floss when they ride, that is a problem, right? If you really have to use your butt when you're, asking a horse to canter off or, add to the jump, there are some times where I get a little bit of a wedge. So I was happy that I didn't have that, especially with my Western horses. And that's kind of what I really wanted to talk about is a lot of the times with the Western horses, especially, I'll get like chafing, and I have to use that monkey butt powder. Have you guys ever heard of that?
Yes. Yeah. And I have chafing problems too, especially on like a long, hot horse show day, Right.
So that for my Western horses, it was huge because I was like, I don't feel like I'm chafing. And so I really liked him a lot. And I do have to admit that I did it was hot, right? For us. So I did take off my pants after I was at a boarding barn where I teach in my car. I didn't take my pants off at the boarding facility in front of my clients. That would have been weird. But I took my pants off in my car and I did go grocery shopping in a long shirt and the underwear.
Like the bike shorts?
Yeah. Hopefully the bike shorts, not her floss thong.
No.
No, I've worked out. I did too. I've used them
I'm like, just this is
fancy for yoga. Yeah.
So other than my hairy legs, people didn't look at me any differently for wearing equi panties to the grocery store.
There you go. Well, hey, so this is a little bit of a different product review for us because we actually have the owner and the founder of Equi Panty on the show with us. So hi, Jessica.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on. And I'm listening to all of this and I'm just loving all of it.
Oh, my goodness. So some of you may recognize Jessica's voice. She was participated in our most recent trunk show. But like we said, Jessica Andrews is the founder of Equi Panty. And so since you have been so delightful, I loved meeting you on the trunk show. We thought we would talk to you a little bit more about your background in the company and how you got started. So Jessica, why don't you just start out by telling us how you came up with the idea for an equestrian designed underwear and what made you want to start your own company?
Yes. So basically, my background in riding, I probably first got on a horse when I was 6 or 7, and it's always obviously been my obsession. But I never really finessed my riding. I grew up in the English countryside trails, galloping through the woods and jumping anything I can jump. And but when I came to America, I got back into riding. I took a little bit of a break and I got back into riding, and I really decided that I actually bought a young horse. So I decided that I really needed to finesse my riding, and I decided to go in the dressage direction. And I started to ride all these big German warm bloods, and this instructor was teaching me all these movements, and I was getting rashes and I was getting cuts, and it was so uncomfortable, but I really wanted to continue with the lessons. And I mean, I would literally come home with cuts sometimes in places, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there has to be an easier answer. And I honestly tried so many different types of underwear, and I still got that rash. And then I started talking to all my girlfriends at the barn and saying, is this an issue for you as well? And they were like, oh yeah, equine bum acne, yeah, it's totally a thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how have we put up with this for so long, So at that point, I decided, well, maybe it's time for me to explore kind of creating something myself. And I've always wanted to create a product, but I didn't really know what it was. And I actually, when I was living in Los Angeles, running my own on-location hair and makeup business, we did all the red carpet events. And when the pandemic hit, obviously they went down to zero. And for me not to literally lose my mind, I had to focus on something. So I decided to create this panty, and riding was my outdoor activity. And I was lucky that I had my horse in a pasture at the time, so I could go and ride and test out the underwear. So I was literally fit model, the tester, everything. And it's been really awesome to launch it to the equestrian community, because if you look at the reviews on my website, everybody just really loves them. I haven't really had any negative feedback yet, which is great. But yeah, that's how it kind of came about.
That's pretty incredible. So what is next for this business? Like, do you have further stuff that you're going to go down the line, or is it just the underwear? I'm super curious.
Absolutely. I would love to make a bra, actually. And I would like to make, I would like to kind of have a bit of a matching set going on maybe too. And maybe having some different lengths too, because for me, I love dressage, and also I jump too sometimes, but for me the length was really important for dressage. But some people have said, maybe we want them just a little bit shorter, so maybe some more different lengths in there too. And I'm also at this point deciding on colors for fall, so they'll be coming through in a couple of months.
So, Jessica, you mentioned this on the Trunk Show, and I thought it would be fun to talk about here, that you live on a horse or pony breeding farm, right? I mean, that sounds amazing. Can you tell us more about it?
Well, I don't actually live there. So I actually live on a farm currently where my horse is, and she's out with a donkey. But I work part-time at a Welsh cob breeder. So I just help. Yeah. So I help with their babies, which it's so funny that I actually moved from LA in midst of the pandemic and all of that too. So I came to a small town in Colorado, and I found a Welsh cob breeder, and they have the most stunning cobs I have seen. I mean, I obviously am from England, and they are very, very fancy and sweet and kind. And yeah, I love working with baby horses. It's one of my joys in life. So to find that and then work there part-time, yeah, I hit the jackpot.
That's awesome.
So are you riding right now? Is that where your mare is?
Yes. So I ride my mare. She unfortunately does not enjoy dressage as much as I do. So she loves to jump and gallop, and she's a really hot red mare, and she's so much fun. But yeah, dressage is just not for her. So I'm looking to buy another horse that I can do that with, and so I can just jump with her. But yes, I ride her and I jump her, and I trail ride too.
That's awesome.
Oh, awesome. That's probably awesome in Colorado.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. And we just plowed the field, so I'm just galloping everywhere, which I love.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Jessica, thank you so much for joining us. But before we let you go, can you tell us where our listeners can find Equipanty, and if they want to get more information? Definitely.
That would be great. So you can find me on Instagram, Equipanty, or you can find me on my website, which is www.equipanty.com. So it's EQUESPANTE.com.
All right, guys, I'm really excited to introduce our next guest. Sarah Ladley is the owner and creative director of Hunt Club, one of my favorite equestrian boutiques, actually. I am a fan of many derby belts. But Sarah, if you have not been to Hunt Club's website, it's a boutique lifestyle brand taking on the mission of combining traditional hunt seat equestrian style with technical fabrics and modern designs. And actually, Sarah was the recipient of the 2016 Heels Down U25 Equestrian Creativity Award in the entrepreneurship category. And we're really thrilled to have her come back. And she's actually going to be a judge for us this year for the 2021 Spark Awards. So, hi, Sarah. How are you? Thanks for joining us.
Hi, I'm doing so well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So to start out, I was hoping you could just tell us more about how you came up with the idea and how to start Hunk Club.
Yeah, absolutely. Weirdly, I started the business out of my dorm room back in 2014. It was the spring of my senior year, and I was sort of frustrated at the time with the riding clothes that were available for teens and young adults. Back then, there really wasn't one brand that offered clever, casual tees designed just for equestrians. At the time, you either sort of got really dressed up to ride in your polo shirt or your button down, or you wore t-shirts made by non-horsey companies for non-horsey people. And I felt like that was a niche that I personally thought needed filled. And that's originally why I started the brand, was to create just some cute and casual t-shirts that people could wear while schooling at home. But obviously now it's evolved into so much more than that. We have a whole line of show shirts for competing in, button downs for clinics or for dressing up a little bit if you're having a lesson, belts, socks, hats. We kind of do a little bit of everything now, which is really, really cool for me just to look back. And this is a little bit of a reflection moment, but look back and see what the goal was when I started, and then just to take in where we are now with everything we offer. It's kind of cool. So it's definitely been a journey, but a fun one.
That's awesome. So question, are you still riding? Do you have horses?
Yes, I am still riding. So right now I'm super grateful to have the opportunity to ride one of my trainer's homebreds. She's the sweetest little gray mare. I started working with her when she came to the farm as a just broke 4-year-old in 2019. And this summer, we're actually just starting to dip our toes in the 3-foot adult amateur hunter ring. So I've had the opportunity to work with her pretty much since she came to the farm from the breeder. And she's just the smartest, most talented little lady. And I feel super lucky to have the ride on her. So yeah, and also just super grateful to be in the saddle as always. Anytime that you can get a little bit of barn time, especially in the last year, it's always a treat.
Yeah, speaking about barn time, how do you manage it all? How do you manage riding and running a business?
The nice thing, one of the perks for working for yourself, there's obviously a lot of uncertainties and a lot of stresses that go along with it, but definitely one of the perks is having a very flexible schedule. So most days I'm actually able to take a little bit of a longer, air quotes, lunch and get out to the farm for a little barn time. I'm also able to compete still, which is wonderful now that you can bring your Wi-Fi puck or, make a hotspot with your phone. I find that I can work from horse shows and keep everything going, even when I'm away from the office and away from home. So it's not something that really would have been possible maybe even 10 years ago, but where we are with technology now, I'm able to not only keep things flexible on the daily, but also keep riding and showing even while managing the business from afar. So I feel super lucky from that standpoint.
So what advice do you have for somebody that's just wanting to start their own business? They have a great idea that's brewing in the back of their heads. Like they're all scared to take the first step. What advice do you have for them?
I totally get that there is that fear of, oh my gosh, this is a big adventure. What if people aren't going to be receptive to what I want to build or what I want to make or what I want to design? And it's hard to tell people not to be afraid of that because it is a little scary, but anything that is worth doing is always a little bit scary at the beginning. And there's never been a better time to put your designs or product out there. With Instagram being as big as it is, and I know TikTok's a thing. I don't personally TikTok, but I know that's also out there as a place where kids and young adults are discovering new brands and new companies. people are sort of voraciously consuming new, whether it's apparel, tack, equipment. People are always looking for what's new and what's cool. And so if you're entering that marketplace and you want to put something new out there, there will be people that want what you're making. And it's easier than it ever has been before for them to find you. So if you're a little bit nervous that, I've got this great idea, but I just don't know if people are going to be receptive, if they're going to want to buy what I want to make, I can't say that I can guarantee they will, but you could certainly find your people and your audience right now. So yeah, it's hard to tell people not to be afraid, but I think now is the best time to explore that. And if you are afraid, that means it's probably something worth doing. So yeah, I think go for it.
Go for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds great.
So Sarah, okay, you started your business in 2014, and then just 2 years later, you won an award from Heels Down as part of the U25 Awards. Can you tell us more about how that impacted you or maybe your business at the time?
Oh, that was such an incredible honor. I had been running the business for just a couple of years, as you said, and even then I was already daydreaming about leaving my corporate day job to run Hunt Club full time. That was sort of the pipeline, pipe dream of what I really hoped I would be doing 5 or 6 years down the road. And I think winning the U25 award, it felt like a huge vote of confidence from people that didn't know me. There were tons of people upvoting Hunt Club that they didn't know me personally. I had a lot of support from my local community here in Pittsburgh, PA, which I was so grateful for. But to have that feeling that people all over the US, all over Canada, that they also thought my idea was a good idea. And not only that it was worth winning an award. That was just an incredible feeling. And I'm absolutely sure that helped me build up the confidence to take the plunge, leave my corporate job, and dive into running the business full time, which I ended up doing in the spring of 2018. So I think it was just an incredible boost of confidence in myself, in what I was doing, in my mission in the company, to know that people out there, thought I was deserving of winning this award. It was just an incredible feeling. So I think back very fondly on that moment when I found out that Hunt Club had won. That was like up there. That was a pin it on the fridge. I actually think I did print that out and pin it on my fridge.
Aww,
That's
so
awesome.
cute.
Yeah.
Well, and now you're a judge for the Heels Down Spark Awards. What are you most excited, to see from this year's entries?
I'm so excited to see what equestrian entrepreneurs have brought to the table this year. As I was saying, this is like the moment for small businesses on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter, on Facebook. I get so excited whenever I find a new little niche brand that is making its way. The equestrian fashion and apparel industry has changed so much from when I first entered it in 2014. Young entrepreneurs and new businesses are carving out spaces that people hadn't really imagined before. When I started Hunt Club, it was all very traditional apparel, and I brought something new and casual to the game. And now you can find so many different takes on that. People are introducing athleisure into the riding world. People are introducing all kinds of really innovative technical designs and modern fabrics, and that really excites me. So I'm really hoping to see some innovative designs from people, some original concepts, and just great takes on what equestrian fashion, apparel, technology can be. So I'm excited to see what these entrepreneurs are working on, because I think now is sort of the moment for new stuff, and I'm really excited to see what people are bringing to the table.
All right. Well, Sarah, before we let you go, tell us where our listeners can shop Hunt Club. And if you guys seriously don't own a derby belt, I don't know what you're doing. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So you can shop Hunt Club anytime at www.shophuntclub.com. We can also be found in almost 30 tack shops across the United States. We have a really nifty little retailer map on our homepage. So I'm personally the type of person that loves to try things on, especially when I'm trying out a new brand. So definitely pop over to the website. You can take a look and see if a tack shop near you stocks Hunt Club. If you already know you love our tees or belts or whatever it is, definitely head on over to the website, see what's new. We've always got some new things. Check out some of our retailers. If you want to follow what's going on with Hunt Club for like the most up-to-date, up-to-the-minute releases and contests, that kind of stuff, you can always follow us at, little at symbol, shop_Hunt Club on all your favorite social media networks, although not TikTok. I haven't quite gotten to that one yet. So, but yeah, there are lots of ways to keep up with what's new. But I'm so tickled that you guys asked me to be on today. So thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about entrepreneurship, apparel, and just equestrian things in general.
All right. So I feel like we just heard from two super inspiring entrepreneurs, which they're amazing. I just don't know how they get it all done. And you guys, Jess, Ellie, you're so busy too. Like, it's just some days, some weeks, some months just feel like you just can't get to it all, right? And I don't even have a kid. I don't own a farm like you guys do. So I wanted to ask you both, how do you balance all the things, and where do you cut yourself some slack? Because I feel like you gotta at some point, right? So how about you, Jess? Because not only did you guys just move, you have a whole farm, you have clients, you have 2 babies, you ride yourself, you guys are on the road so often traveling. Like, how do you make sure you're still keeping track of the goals you have in your life or your riding career on top of all of your commitments?
I mean, I think you have to give yourself leeway in everything, like not just your goals and everything else. Like, I think there's one thing about like dream big and like always, I know it sounds stupid, but like a vision board and stuff like that. Like, I think those are so important to like keep you kind of like sight. And I'm a very like paper person. Like, Doug's all about virtual everything. So like I go to the grocery store with an old school list, guys. Like, I literally write out everything, and Doug's like, why can't you just text it in your phone and like look? I'm like, I don't like my phone that much. Like, I don't want to do reminders in my phone. I have an old school planner, and just staying organized in that sense, I think does help, so that when I'm really on top of it, which is not right now, I'm going to be honest, I have like a day planner. So like I do my to-do list. I do like what I have to do that day. And so it just kind of keeps it, and it's easier for me to bill that way as well. Like do billing and everything else, because I do all of our books. And so I think, you give yourself some leeways. And I talked about it, not long ago with somebody. I was like, right now, eventing, I love eventing. Like, I want to get back eventing, but right now it's just not possible. So instead of like being super upset with it, it's like, look, I'm still riding and I'm still showing and it's fun. But if I don't make it to the ring that day because my kid's screaming at me or God knows what, like, it's not a big deal. I don't have to be eliminated like an eventing.
Right.
Like, if I don't make it at 8:00, I'm just like, either can you hold the class for 10 minutes? I'll probably be there in 10 minutes, but I just can't be there at 8:00 exactly on the dot. So for me, it's about the flexibility and finding that in show jumping. I mean, I do love the hunters and the jumpers. So it's been kind of like a breath of fresh air in that sense of I can still do all of it and not feel like if I'm late, I just spent all this money on the weekend and I can't even make it to dressage on time.
Yeah.
So I think, even if you're not a mom or anything else, you have to give yourself some slack. I mean, life is crazy. So if you can't kind of laugh about it, and I say that and like, I'm probably not going to laugh about it tomorrow if I do something, but trying to make it like light and fun really does help. And just trying to be as organized as possible helps me.
That makes sense. But what about you, Ellie? You own your own farm, right? Which is great to some degree because you have your horses in your backyard. But do you still struggle to feel motivated? And I know we've talked about chronic illness in the past, and I know that's got to get in the way sometimes of your riding goals or even just being able to ride some days, right? So how do you How do you manage all that?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jess made a good point that you kind of have to just accept the things that you are and are not going to be able to do in an allotted period of time. You know, like some days I will go and I always start by grooming the horses that I intend to ride, right? So sometimes I groom 3, sometimes I groom 1, and then sometimes they only get groomed because by the time I've removed all the filth from them, I don't have time. I'm like, I have to go work so I can afford to groom you again tomorrow. So I think, that kind of thing. And I mean, especially with, doing the whole thing as a 2-man operation, like Matt works a full-time job as an accountant, and, we're getting ready for hay season now again. So it's like, okay, we have to find, I'm like, I have to ride really early in the morning so that way I can be free all afternoon, to do hay and kind of plan my days like that. And I tell my clients too, I'm just like, expect me to always be 10 minutes late, because I'll probably will be, because the thing is, time really slips away, and I think that's true for all horse people, not just people who, have to go mend a fence before they can get on, or, have to go find a shoe before they can get on, or have to drag the arena. That's awful. That's the one thing I miss about a boarding facility, is not having to drag the arena. It takes so long to do a good job. But so, I mean, yeah, you just kind of have to accept the things that you can and can't do. Like today, I went out with the intention of, I got my Pessoa system out, and I said, all right, we're going to work on toning our booties today. And instead I was like, I really should set up my horsefly trap because the bugs are starting to get bad. So that's what I did instead. So
I like the grooming all that you're going to intend to do. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it still gives you
less of a crappy person. I'm like, okay, at least you got brushed.
Yeah, exactly. You set a manageable goal for yourself,
Yeah.
I think that's
so, important. I mean, sometimes that's all you can do, right?
Exactly.
And for me, it's made a huge difference, unfortunately, with, the goals I have for myself. And I mean, it's tough for me right now because my sister just turned 21, and she and her horse are doing and being very successful at the meter 10s. And, she's doing what I always wanted to do as a kid, right? So it's tough to kind of watch her. I'm like vicariously living through her, and also like being jealous of her at the same time, because she's going and doing, the meter 10s on the Grand Prix hunt field at Old Salem. And I'm like, I trotted without stirrups today and I'm exhausted, so because I can't, it's like impossible to stay fit in the saddle, if you're also trying to do a million other things at the same time, just to make sure that your horses can get spring vaccines and, and the stalls are cleaned, and all the while, trying to work a full-time job. So it's kind of put a damper on my show career, but, I'm happy. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go out and I'm going to do the 0.8s this year at Saratoga in August. So that's my goal. I'm like, because I know my horse can do that without me. So I'm just going to sit there and hold on and wear a nice big control top to hide my COVID bod. So.
Hey, you're still getting out there and you have a goal.
Exactly.
You have something to ride for now,
Yeah, exactly. So I mentioned my horsefly trap, but guys, I don't know about you, but the bugs are here to stay. So I personally feed Smart Bug Off. It's a feed through supplement that helps with the flies biting them, but also helps with manure management. Since I spread my manure, it helps so that the flies cannot lay eggs in their poop. So definitely check out Smart Pack. Has so many options: fly sprays, fly sheets, everything you could possibly imagine to keep your horses protected from the predators of the season. So check out everything on Smart Pack. That's smartpackequine.com. So guys, I kind of led into my rose, and Justine knows about this because I told her about it, but I had my first horseback riding lesson, English, like jumping lesson, in 3 years, which was way too long.
I was so excited to see your video. You look so good.
But do you guys want to know something really embarrassing? So this lady that I rode with, she's a large R judge. She judged me when I was in college, and like I was hot in college, so like I rode better. And I was also like her ringmaster when she came and judged at our shows. So we have, like a good relationship. But we were doing this gymnastic, and it wasn't very complex. But literally, she's like, oh, yeah, if he lands on the correctly, just keep going and do the diagonal. And she's like, or you can just do a simple change, because my arena is not really big, and I don't like to drill him on his changes. So I literally landed on the right lead, still trotted as if to do a simple change. And I'm like, oh, my God, did I just do that? And I just kind of looked at her, and I'm like, pretend you didn't see that. I was like,
Aww.
oh my God, it's been a long time, but it was good. And she gave me some exercises and some homework to do. Cause I think, we don't realize how many bad habits we get when we ride alone, or how to fix them. Like, I'm like, I know my hands are in my crotch, but I don't really care to fix it, and no one's there to yell at me not to. So that's my Rose. I'm really excited about that. And like you said, I have my goal of going to Saratoga in August. So I'm starting to get ready for that. So that is my Rose definitely for this week.
When is the show?
So it's like the end of August is the week that my sister's going. So it was like, I'm going to meet her there. So that's my end goal. Is just, I can't remember what week it is. I don't pay attention. My mom texted me the dates like 6 times, and I'm like, you're going to have to text me the day before. So I remember to put like a horse on the trailer and kind of go up. But, so that's, I'm excited.
You should be.
We'll
That's
see.
super exciting.
We'll see. But hopefully I don't fall off and make a fool of myself. But yeah, Berkeley was awesome. So. But my thorn is that I am having a hard time getting rid of my COVID bod. I know I've talked about it like all podcasts because it's driving me crazy. But I even succumbed to the whole like get quick fast, spend $150 on this diet plan for a month. It didn't work at all.
It didn't work at all?
No, like if anything, it made me constipated. I was so angry. I'm like, I just spent $160 on this. It was, I can't remember the name of it. It starts with M.
Meal plan, or like, what was it?
No, it was like, so it was 3 things. So you start with this like Activate stuff, which is like this powder you're supposed to mix with water, which literally tastes like algae. It's like, it was weird.
Just put it in your green sludge drink.
Yeah. It's supposed to be like a toxin, like, detox kind of thing. You do that for 3 days. And then there's like,
and can you eat with that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you're not supposed to change anything other than like not eat like bread or fried foods. And I'm like, that's my entire diet. So that was an adjustment. So I basically ate a lot of like wheat and, wheat breads and meat, but it didn't really. I don't like vegetables.
Have you tried Dave's bread?
No, I should though.
Oh my gosh. So it's lower calories and everything, because I hear you, because I'm going to go into my Rose and Thorn too, because I'm not going to use this as my Rose, but I finally got my Peloton back from Aiken. I drove down to Aiken last week to get my Peloton and a bunch of other stuff we left. But my Thorn is that, yes, I'm with Ellie and still haven't lost the weight. And so I went to pick up my Peloton, and I've only ridden it once since it's been back here, which is, I know, like we talked about, give yourself some slack and all this, but it's just frustrating. So I'm trying to get back in on it and no, that's a lie. I've ridden it twice, but still I need to be, it's been a week. Like I should be on it like 5 to 6 times a week. Like when I was in the groove, I was riding it 5 to 6 days a week, and I loved it and I was obsessed with it. So the Dave's bread, though, is a way you can eat, and it's lower calories, and they're thin slices, and they taste really good. Like my kids are obsessed with it.
Ooh, interesting.
So it's we like the green one. The yellow one's not bad either, like the outside, but it's called Dave's Killer Bread, and it's so good. So you guys should check that
Okay,
out. That's like
yeah.
an alternative to like
I'm into
Red.
it.
Yeah, so it's good. So that's my thorn, is that I need to get better. But my rose is, the reason I didn't ride my Peloton was today is because I went into downtown Raleigh to my old hair salon and did like a spa day.
Ooh, good for
So-
you.
Yeah. So totally worth it. So instead of my Peloton, I met a really good friend in at our French restaurant and had lattes and croque monsieurs, none of which is on a diet, but instead did that, had fun, did a little shopping, and then got my hair done. That was long overdue.
Aw.
So yeah, so my rose is that, yes, I probably should have worked out today. Instead, I did the opposite and did a spa shopping day.
Good for you, though. You got to treat
Yeah.
yourself sometimes.
Yeah, I needed to. Like it was so great. So like Doug took care of the kids with Lauren, and it was fun. So that was perfect.
Nice.
What have you just
What
seen?
about you?
Oh, okay. I've got two thorns and a rose, but we'll start with the thorns. So, the first one is, like you, Ellie, I see myself in pictures and go, all right, it's time to get this COVID body under control. And so I started running every day, which I do it in spurts. Like I used to be really good about like, having a sort of schedule, and I used to run all the time. And the older I get, the worse it is, and I hate it. So I'm just in that like early weeks of trying to run and wanting to just melt into the ground because it's awful. I hate running. It's the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
It's
That's why
just
you don't
terrible.
do it unless something is chasing you.
It's just terrible.
It's the only time you run is
Yeah.
with adrenaline because you're going to die. That's
My
Yeah,
husband got into running recently, like in the last couple months, and he's just like a natural athlete type person who he's a person who gets up before the sun to go to the gym, and that like he's excited to do that. He's like one of those sicko people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
so-
sister's like
None
that.
of the
It's
three of
disgusting.
us. Yeah, none of the three of us.
So he's like, he's very encouraging, like, you should run, it's great, blah, blah, blah. But he was never like a cardio person, and now he runs and stuff, and I
He's
just
natural.
look at him and
He's natural, and he's like, oh, got it.
I'm just like, God, gross. So anyway, so I'm trying to run. That's my thorn. My other thorn is that, one, my horse is finally sound. That's not a thorn, but God, like 2 months off, it's like amazing the amount of fitness they lose. Like
Mhm.
it feels like I'm starting all over. And so I've been doing a ton of like conditioning rides, and we're taking it slow, obviously. And we went to a dressage show, which is part of my rose, like our first real outing, and he did great, even though I would say he's at like 65% of his fitness level, previous to his injury. Well, I was riding today, and we're getting trying to get like, that's the other thing, is I do too many different things. So like when I ride him for dressage, it's a little bit easier right now because he needs me to help hold him up, right? So he is happy to be in a dressage frame. And so today I was trying to hack him out a little bit more huntery because we're going to a hunter show in a couple weeks. And so I asked him to pick up a canter and kind of give him the reins to lope along. And we get like 10 strides out, and he trips and he falls completely on the ground, like just totally fell on his face.
No.
I was like
I'm sorry.
ejected. He just fell on his face.
Oh, no.
Is this on video? Please tell me this. is on
No, it's
video.
not. But a friend of mine was riding like with us out in the field, and she was like horrified, And it was scary in the moment. But then I'm just looking at him laying in the sand, and I was like, he's just a big fat guy, I'm like, God damn it. So he's fine. He got up. Well, I told the barn owner, like, keep an eye on him in case he's stiff or something swells. But like, that's, now I'm going to be afraid to jump him, if he can't even like pick up a
Yeah, if he
can without falling.
Can't pick up his own legs.
I know. The fair is coming out this week. So, there's some things that maybe will help him out. But like, man,
Yeah.
he just fell right on his face. He had no
So not
self-preservation.
cool,
I feel like I should apologize for laughing, but I was
No.
like, I'm sure he's fine, or she wouldn't be sharing it right now.
No, he's totally fine. And I was just,
I'm a laugh.
I just sort of like, rolled over and I was like, what the heck was this? But like, yeah, he
Right?
just literally was so on the forehand that when he tripped, he could not correct himself and just went, "We're going down, man."
Down for the count.
And we went down. Then he just he laid there, slowly got up, gave himself a good shake, and just stood there like, "All right,
Like
I'm good."
nothing affected him.
Yep. Yeah. It was an ordeal. But now so then I put a grid together because then I got back on and was like, all right, like this is ridiculous.
Come on, dude.
And put something together, small, low, but like to make him sit on his butt and get off his forehand, But it was a good reminder that we're only 4 weeks back under saddle, and fitness is a big deal. It's just it's amazing. It's just amazing how, he's still his normal self and rises to the occasion when I really ask him, but he needs the fitness. He needs the conditioning. It's crazy. So that's where I'm at. But so I have sort of a goal like you, Ellie. This is a long-winded tale to get to my rose, is that I think I'm going to go to WEC this summer at the end of July.
Good.
Yeah. I signed up for NSBA, so I've already got money in it. And, showing in the indoors and the air conditioning is a game changer for us in Florida, where we could show in the summer, So, but he's got to be fit enough to go and like do it for real by then. But I feel like, I got 2.5 months. He should be fine, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
You've got time.
Okay. It's like you're going to do a lot of lunge circles, Michael. Get that booty back in shape.
Right.
God.
Yeah. I guess there are not a lot of hills in Florida.
Not a ton. Nope. Not a ton. So.
Oh man. Lots of raised trot poles. That's what
Yeah.
Berkeley's doing. He hates me. He's like, "This is the worst." And I'm like,
Mikey
"It sucks
hates it
more
too.
for me."
And it's too funny that you say that, because I was trotting him through that today, and I'm like, man, he feels like he could fall right in the middle of these. And then, like 20 minutes later, he falls on his face,
And like, great.
Oh my God. I'm going to post a video of Berkeley going through the grid the first time, and it's like maybe a foot. I'll post it to the group, and he literally just trotted over the entire thing.
He said no.
Like, yep. This
Not
is where
do
we're
it.
at. I was like, and I just sat there. I was like, I'm just going to let this happen. I'm like,
This
I'm
is not
winded.
going well.
Oh my gosh. All right, so we got a mailbag, and Ellie, you are the perfect person to answer this. So
All right,
Joey
I'm ready.
wrote to us on Facebook, and they are a jumper at a Western barn. So Joey lives in a rural part of Wisconsin, where the only barns in the area are either Saddle Seat or Western Pleasure. But Joey is a hunter jumper rider, and the nearest hunter jumper farm is about an hour away. They struggle with dealing with all the Western riders, taking their jumps down, the usual stuff. They set up a trail course. It's a struggle. So Joey wants to know, is it worth taking their horse an hour and a half away just to be with other jumpers? Or do you have any advice for coexisting with Western riders at a Western barn?
So my advice would be to see this as a positive, because I think one thing that I didn't realize until I became a crossover rider is how much hunter jumpers can learn from the Western discipline. And it's not just the riding, but just in general, like how many, and I'm sure Jess can attest to this, how many, warm bloods would you take and they would see elements of a trail course, like a bridge, and be like, I mean, not the eventers, of course, right? But, like a dressage horse, they'd be like, what the heck is that?
Mm-hmm.
And they would freak out. I mean, there's a lot of desensitizing that you can take advantage of in that kind of situation. And I was just talking about this with one of my clients who wants to do some trail stuff. She bought a bridge and she's at a hunter jumper barn. So kind of the opposite of Joey's situation. And what they came up with the owners was to make the bridge, since it's about 1.5 feet, 2 feet spread, is that they're making it, kind of like a fill for a jump. So that way when because it's heavy to move, obviously, because it's a bridge. That way when they want to use it for a trail, she just has to move the standards from the side, and it can work both ways out in their hunt course for both the jumper riders and the hunter riders. So maybe just have like a conversation about, how you guys can set things up together that would work both ways. You know, I know it's weird to be in a different, especially with, you know, how far apart Western Pleasure is from Hunter Jumper. You know, it's a learning curve for sure, and I'm still learning, you know, but I think that, you know, you just got to take advantage of the situations where your horse is going to be benefiting differently than if it were at a Hunter Jumper barn. And no one wants to drive an hour and a half to go ride. By the time you get there, you're like, I don't want to ride.
Yeah.
What I think of is
sometimes I think the walk to my house is too long.
Like in case of an emergency, if you had to get there, that would be excruciating, you know?
Right.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, good advice, Ellie. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, I mean, let us know what you come up with, and I can certainly give you some ideas on how to make trail obstacles into jumping obstacles and vice versa in a safe way. Because I've done that plenty. I mean, you know, they set up barrels, just turn the barrel on the side. You know, there's a lot of different things that you can do, and I think you've got a good situation. You know, you just kind of have to learn to work with each other.
There you go.
That's great advice.
So if you have a question for us and you want us to answer it on air, you can send us an email by going to hello@heelsdownmedia.com, or you can post in our Facebook group, which is the Heels Down Happy Hour Podcast Lounge. If you want to hear more from us, you should subscribe to the Heels Down Spark. There's still time to enter the Spark Awards. That period closes for applications at the end of this month in May. And you could sign up for the Spark newsletter by going to bit.ly/spark by HD. We want to say thank you to all our partners this week, EcoGold, SmartPack, and Equipanti. All right, guys, that's a wrap. Cheers.
Cheers.